Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now joined by Town Councilman of Port Royal, Joe Lee. Joe, how are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for this great idea. This has been fun talking to everybody and learning so much about the 100th year celebration.
We're really pleased to host Parris Island, and I think this is a great opportunity for everybody to learn about it.
How is the town of Port Royal directly associated with the Marine Recruit Department at Parris Island?
Well, our history is pretty well tied to the Marine Corps because the town was actually chartered in 1874 as part of putting the Navy base here. And then then it transformed in the early 1900s to a Marine base. We've been associated with this all along. And so many of the town population work here. And also have worked here and have passed through here. A lot of times people pass through Parris Island and then end up retiring from the Marine Corps and coming back to Port Royal.
And the tourism aspect of it too. I mean, every 2 weeks there's graduation, right? I mean, all those families coming in, that's great for the local economy.
Absolutely, and we host a ton of these people, and we love it because we get to see the families transform as they see their child that left home and now is a Marine, and they go, holy cow.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, look what they did in 13 weeks. I couldn't do in 18 years. You know? And it's great. I mean, we love that part of it.
That's great.
So how do the recruits who pass through Parris Island affect Port Royal?
Well, first of all, all the recruits, this million recruits that have come through here have come through Port Royal. And with them in the later years, their families have come for graduation. So that is a huge boost to the economy. And in addition, I mean, now the families come on Wednesday and leave on Friday, so that's an extra day that they're in the area. Certainly not just Port Royal. We couldn't house whatever 5,000 visitors on a weekend, but we do have a lot of properties in Port Royal that are rented out short term, and that's where these families stay, and we're proud to have them. Plus, I mean, on a daily basis, we interact with the base here all the time, so that's great. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, sir, what has changed in the recruit process over the years?
Well, I think the biggest thing that you guys have already talked about, but for Port Royal, the first, up until 1962, 62 or 63, all the recruits came by train. And they came by train to Yemassee, and then a Yemassee train brought them here to Port Royal, and they would disembark from the train, get on a bus, and come over here to Parris Island. And there are stories about back then when they had their civilian clothes. This was during the Depression. They had their civilian clothes. They would just get rid of their civilian clothes in Port Royal and put on fatigues. And the residents of Port Royal would pick up the civilian clothes and redo them and either sell them or use them themselves. It was in the Depression, and they didn't have any, you know, it was
free
tough
clothes.
times. Yeah, so they were really closely tied to Parris Island. Plus, I mean, we interact in so many different ways. It's just unbelievable. I mean, we see these guys all the time.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about the future of recruit training here at Parris Island?
Oh, I hope it's glorious. No, I think we're working now. We've just finished a joint land use study with Parris Island, and also, as a matter of fact, a separate one with the air station. But that defines how the town interacts with the base, and it incorporates a lot of civilian input and a lot of military input. So we really do see a long-term relationship here, and we're very flexible in terms of how we can help and do things. I think it gets better all the time. And we got folks like this that interact with us, and that's great. That makes it really, really great.
So the 100th year celebration, the event of the year, how was the town involved?
Well, I mean, we championed this thing from the beginning, and we've participated, of course, in the 100K race. It's a big job. We talk about it like it's not a big deal, but believe me, when you tie up all of this property for a whole Saturday,
sure,
and they interact with things like the farmers market and the town, and it's just a huge event. And we're happy to do it. It really does make a lot of sense. And we feel then at the end, in October when this comes on, it's going to tie in that end weekend is going to be the same weekend as our Oktoberfest in town. So that we wanted to do that, and the Marine Corps wanted to do it that way. And so it's going to be a huge opportunity for everybody to enjoy the area. And then in the following weekend, we're going to have another event which will be associated with the museum and the historic part of it. So all of that is, these guys have done a great job of putting all this together and just getting started, as a matter of fact.
Right. So, you know, obviously I'm a Beaufort County resident, and you know, I have a lot of pride that we have this base here in the county, but it being so directly tied to your town, what does that say about Port Royal, and how does it, you know, just from a pride standpoint, reflect on the town of Port Royal?
Well, a couple of things. Let me say up front that the visitors here, most of them stay south of the Broad because that's where the hotels are.
Right.
We have a few here in Beaufort, and we have a very few in Port Royal, but the vast majority stay south of the Broad, so that's a huge economic impact there. But with us, it's the interaction of the people that are stationed here and the civilians that work here, and the fact that it's such a small town. We're only 10,000 people. And if you look at, take an example, of Fort Jackson up in Columbia. Fort Jackson is a huge base, but it's also in the capital of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's overpowered by places like the university and the hospitals and everything. Here, it's us and the Marine Corps. And we're really, really proud of that.
That's a good partner.
Yeah, how can you beat that, right? Yeah. And we enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much for organizing this, and thanks for your time. We always enjoy being here.
Well, this is a fun thing to do.
It
This
is.
out here in this, you kidding?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.